Alright, hi, I'm Rob Deal. It's a pleasure to meet you. So, I've been watching a lot of coverage on the HUD regulation prohibiting people to live full-time in their motorhomes or their RVs of different sizes and shapes. And I actually came into this as an option quite by happenstance. It was an option for me a long time ago. Probably 12 years ago. I was divorced and had a little house all by myself, loved to travel, was paying too much for the little house that I was renting, and kept passing by this little RV place, and they had this toy hauler. It looked really cool. My issue was the truck that I had. It was a Chevy Avalanche. It couldn't tow much, bumper tow, so I needed a bigger truck, and then you got more cost in vehicle, and then you got the added expense of the RV. Then is it cost effective to try to live that way? I wasn't sure, and I didn't actually pursue it, and then got married, had some kids, and so it wasn't an option then. So recently, I came into a situation again where I took a fresh look at living in an RV of some sort. Started looking. I had a GMC 2500 at that time. Started looking at fifth wheels and bumper pulls, and ended up, I got two kids, so I needed the bunk beds. I ended up looking at toy haulers, and by the time I figured out what I wanted, the fifth wheel that I wanted was like 60 grand and it was too heavy for that GMC 2500 gas truck. It was a 6.0. So now I'm looking at, now I gotta get a bigger truck, and heck, the payment for that GMC was like $600 or more. So then you get into a camper payment, of $500. You're $1,100 in truck and trailer. So started looking at other options that were more cost effective. Ended up buying this 35-foot Fleetwood Terra 3-slide with bunk beds. It's basically a family model. It says it sleeps 8. I don't know that I would want to try to sleep 8 in here, but anyway. So I ended up putting it at a RV park, a place that actually allows 28-day rentals. So it's not a permanent solution, but it works for me, because then I won't bore you guys with my complicated situation, but having that flexibility where if I don't want to be there after 28 days, I can move. Been traveling a lot, been going up the California coast. It's really bumpy right here. I'm coming out of Winnemucca into Lovelock and then into Reno, Sparks area. Anyway, so I ended up, get to the point. So I ended up buying a motorhome, selling the GMC 2500, and moved into it in an RV park, 28-day rental, in January. So I've been in it almost 5 months now. And like I was saying, the benefit is that after 28 days, if I want to move, go to a different RV park, then I can. I have a full-time job that's local, so I don't really have the luxury of moving out of town. But if something happened and I couldn't afford the hookups, I could stay with a friend and park it, and pay $50-$60 a month to park it until I can afford the hookups again. In our area, hookups are like $700. So and then that's only over the winter. A lot of the more long-term RV parks are 800, 850 plus power hookups with a meter. Then you got propane. So some of these long-term spots, you're looking at $900 in hookups, including power, sewer, water, cable TV, and then whatever you're staying in, your camper payment plus insurance, So I'm upwards right now of $1,300 a month in camper payment, insurance, and hookups. $1,300. So you're like, well, is it then cost effective to live in my motorhome at $1,300 a month? And I would say yes. Others might argue that you can get an apartment for that. I got 2 kids that I have part-time, and it's non-traditional. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Is it right to have your kids as a dad part-time in a motorhome? Anyway. So the flexibility that gives me in my current circumstance is really beneficial to me. Plus, like I said earlier, I've been traveling a lot. On the weekends, I can unhook and just tell the front office that I'm going to be gone for the weekend, and then I can head from Reno Sparks out through Sacramento and out to the coast. I can go down through San Francisco. I can go north up 101 and see the coast and the mountains and the ocean. It's beautiful. A couple weeks ago, took a week and did some traveling. Ended up in just south of Fort Bragg, California, and then cut east back into Reno Sparks. It was a really cool round trip. Anyway, so I dig this lifestyle. It's not perfect for everybody. And I will tell you this, the RV park that I'm staying in, like 50% of the people in there are full-timers. Our issue in Sparks is that the cost of living has skyrocketed in the last 5 years. A house, a bricks and sticks house in Reno Sparks will cost you $1,800 plus. An apartment costs you $1,300 to $1,800, 2 bedrooms and up. When you got kids, you need 2 bedrooms at minimum. So $1,300 a month to have my own 4 walls and not share a floor or a ceiling or walls with anybody, be able to travel, not be locked into a 12 to 18 month lease. Like I said, in my situation, budget is limited, so I have to be really careful about every dollar that I spend. So if I run out of money, I have options, and I'm not stuck in a lease where it's going to ruin my credit and put my day job in jeopardy. So I just wanted to take a minute and make a video because there's lots of folks who are starting to talk about the HUD regulation. Now, I watched another gentleman, and he said that, and I haven't looked into it, so don't hold me to this, but he said that the HUD regulation has been in place since the 80s, prohibiting people from living in RVs, but it's just recently gained some popularity on the net, especially for those that choose this lifestyle, live in their camper, RV full time. So I will submit to you that yes, I could go get an apartment, but in my current circumstance, it would be irresponsible because I would lock myself into a lease that I may or may not be able to pay every month because of my limited funds right now. And I got a great job, but again, I won't bore you with my circumstance, but I'm a little stretched thin, so this works on the short term, but I love it. I'd like to do it full time forever. I'd like to finish paying this thing off, retire in about 11, 12 years, and then just travel and live wherever I end up for the rest of my life until I can't do it anymore and end up in a nursing home. So for those of you, excuse me, the pollen's out. For those of you who are thinking about the full-time RV lifestyle, and those of you already doing it, I love it. I love the freedom, flexibility. I'm a gypsy, so if you got that gypsy spirit and home is wherever your stuff is, then I'm telling you, your heart's in the right place. And if you're, like I said, if you're thinking about it, and you want to have that flexibility and freedom, and you feel tied down in your mortgage or your rental agreement, can't hurt. Buy yourself a small. You can buy them for next to nothing. I had a little pull behind Outback. It was a side load toy hauler. The damn thing costs like $4,500. I mean, it's small living space, but you can pull the damn thing with a pretty small pickup truck, and you can give it a shot. You know, you could live in it for a week and see if it appeals to you. But I can tell you, man, it does take a little bit of getting used to. When I had to empty all my personal items out of the house that I was living in into storage, and then live full time in a motorhome, you know, there's lots of other videos you can watch about peeling back all the stuff that you think you need when you have a house. And I'm a pack rat. I grew up with a family full of them. Not necessarily like clinical hoarders, but you know, my family likes stuff and likes to collect stuff. So I'm guilty of that. When you live in this kind of environment, you don't have that kind of space. And I don't want to buy it and then put it in storage. It's not really prudent. So anyway, I'm rambling on here. I'm Rob Deal, hashtag Rob Deal. I stole that from, what's his name, Justin Timberlake. So you guys take care. Please leave your comments below. Like, subscribe, and share. And whoa, it's windy. Wow. I'm just a regular guy review.